Well, hi everybody, this is Angelo Quinones and you reach I Am Ministries. I Am Ministries is designed to give you dependable and accurate answers that come straight from God's holy and His raw word, the Bible. And we're not really doing a Bible study here. We're going to be studying the Greek letters in a unique way, okay, with unique visual letters, effects, okay? And so that's just the deal. Now, before we get to the final part, okay, of this particular series on the Greek alphabet, pospai, by the way, manishma, that means how's it going in modern Greek and in modern Hebrew. Okay, pospai being modern Greek. Yasas means hello, okay, in a formal way, and yasu means hello also, but in an informal way to your buddies and pals because that's what they deserve. Is that what I mean? And so, again, my name is Angelo KYKY RUCCI QUINONES. That's KYKY and then RUCCI. And I'm the one who originally uploaded the famous debate between James White and Greg Stafford. So it's me. So let me just tell you a little bit about myself before we get into this great study of the Greek alphabet in a unique way that's not really done by really anybody that I ever heard. So I hope that you enjoy this. Okay. I was born in 1965 and on July the 14th to my mother Nelda and my father Jose Quinones. Okay. I'm in the Philippines right now, but I was born in the United States of America, New York City, in the Bronx. And I have a brother and a sister. So in Hebrew, that's Yeshli Ach ve'achot. Ach means brother, and achot means sister. I am legally blind. Okay, my problem is I see everything in a miniature way, in a sort of toyish way, a small way. Micron in Greek, right? Chiquito in Spanish. And so my problem is I see everything small, you know. So I can see you could be a very fat person and I'll see you as a Barbie doll like that, you know what I'm saying? So that's just the deal. And so I was brought up in New York City, near Yankee Stadium, by the way, and that's kind of a big deal nowadays in 2022 because of Aaron Judge's quest for 62 home runs, breaking the record of Roger Maris set back in, 1961, I believe? Is it 61? I believe it was 1961. He broke that record of Babe Ruth, of the Babe. And so I went to public school. I went to the first and to kindergarten and the first grade, and then I was given a letter by my teacher, okay, and actually in that envelope contained a letter that was to my mother, saying on it, written on the letter was that well, your son has a vision problem. He can't see that well. He can't read. He can't see like other kids. And I think that he needs to go to Lavelle School for the Blind. That was the recommendation of my first grade teacher. And I'll never forget it. I mean, I was in the first grade. I was not even 7 years old. I was like around 6 years old. And I still remember that, that letter. And so I gave that letter to my mother, and the rest is history. I went to Lavelle School for the Blind for about maybe, 10 years. My father was killed in a fire in 1983 when I was 17 years old. So that was very traumatic for me. That was a very horrible experience because he was killed actually. Okay, so not by the fire, but he was killed by a person or persons, and they threw some flammable liquid on him, and 90% of his body, or whatever the case may be, was burned. And so he didn't last that many days, and he died. And I wasn't a Christian at the time, but I took it as well as a person can take it, as a son can take it, And so before that, we moved throughout New York City. We went to upstate to purchase a house, upstate New York, Rochester, and we just lived in the Bronx for the longest time until 1979. That we moved out of there and moved to Far Rockaway Beach, Queens, and and so I got there when I was 13 years old, but I still wasn't saved. Okay, so I mean, so incidentally, in 1986, my wife Riza was born. Again, she was born in 1986. I was born in 1965. So I was 21 years old when she was born here in the Philippines. I wasn't even in the Philippines. I was back in the United States of America working two jobs, separately though, And I remember that one of my jobs was piecework, okay, when that thing was legal to do. And the other job was at the wheat transport company in Hempstead, Long Island, I believe. 1986. I was doing those two things when she was, being born. And I had a lot of jobs in my life. The last job that I ever had was in New York City, obviously, because I left in 2018. In 2018, I worked for an insurance company in New York City, and that was one of my best jobs. And Dialogue in the Dark was a great job that I had as a tour guide. But before that, in 1990, I was born again. God called me through the scriptures and caused me to help to recognize the fact that I was a sinner and I needed to call upon the name of the Lord for forgiveness and to believe in Jesus' blood, sacrifice on the cross, and his bodily resurrection from the dead. And so I believe in all the core essentials of the historic Christian faith. I mean, I believe in the inspiration of the scriptures. I believe in the virgin birth, the deity of Christ, the Trinity, by the way, also. Throw that in there also. And the atonement on the cross by Jesus, substitutionary atonement on the cross by Jesus Christ our Lord, and his bodily resurrection from the dead, and his second coming. So those are the core essentials hammered out by B.B. Warfield in the turn of the 20th century. And those are the essentials, And so I was born again then, but the first church that I ever attended was Calvary Baptist Church in West 57th Street in Manhattan. And I was baptized in another church in Far Rockaway, Queens, but it wasn't. The baptism didn't take place there. It took place in the Bronx, but we didn't have a facility to baptize people, so I had to go all the way to the Bronx, to the John 3:16 church in the Bronx to get baptized in 1965. And I was still living in Far Rockaway, Queens, and I got my GED diploma in 1986. But never really thought of studying or going to college or anything like that until I became saved, and many years after my salvation. By the way, I'm an evangelical, Christian, a born again Trinitarian Christian. I mean, I'm a down to earth dude. Okay, I just believe all the things that you need to believe. Okay, so that's just the deal with me. And again, I'm a Trinitarian. By the grace of God, I am what I am, said the Apostle Paul. And so, then I heard a commercial at WMCA when I was here in the Christian Research Institute, when it was really great. Now it's not. It was at that time, in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. It was really great. When Walter Martin was the president, and a little bit after that, a few years after that. But now you know the deal with that. Incidentally, I was hearing family radio when I came across the gospel. When family radio was the jewel of FM radio. I mean, before Harold Camping began his false prophecies. I heard that, and I did hear the message through the Family Bible Reading Fellowship, and other things led me to Christ. before that station went haywire, you know. So that's just it. And so the thing is, I wasn't married at the time. During all this time, I was never married. I never had any children, you know. Sort of a shy guy. And so in the 2000s, and like maybe 2000 or 2001 or something like that, or maybe even 2002, I heard, like I said, a commercial on the radio that led me to inquire about going to college in a college called Nyack Theological Seminary, a very wonderful, down-to-earth Trinitarian Christian college, if you will, you know, believing in all the fundamentals, and it's just really down-to-earth. Maybe not one of the greatest Christian colleges in the world, but there with anyone as far as having great professors is concerned. And so I went there, okay? I went there, okay, sorry about that, guys. I'll put an overlay on it so you can't really tell in the future, you know. And by the way, when you see the Greek letters, I'm going to put some overlays, not in 2022 when it's up on YouTube, but and actually, unless I learn how to do it with YouTube, but later on in the future, okay, I will. So that's, I guess that's the future tense. I will. I think that's a liquid future. That'll be the liquid future. You know, I will, but then you have to put the verb, so that, you know, that's another probably different construction. I will put. So put has to be in the future. Okay, that's just the deal. So you know, I will put overlays and things like that in scriptures over the letters while I'm speaking. But that's going to come for later. That's going to come later, not now. You know, when I'm back doing things on Corel Video Studio, I think it's called Video Studio now, and I'm going to mention that when you see the letters in a few minutes. And so I wasn't interested in going to college. I just wanted to get my GED, and that was really good enough, you know. Before I became saved, and after I became saved, I have no interest in going to college whatsoever. Incidentally, my favorite Bible teachers are Dr. Donald Gray Barnhouse. Okay, best Bible teacher I ever heard, one of the best in the history of this planet. And then Martin Lloyd-Jones, which is the greatest preacher of all time. Okay, I mean, I know Spurgeon but still, I heard Martin Lloyd-Jones. I never heard Spurgeon. And he preached with power. And those are some of the greatest teachers I ever heard. Bible readers, I mean, you know, Max McLean, and then Hendrik Van Dyke, and then Alexander Scorby. Those are the three of my favorites, you know. Bible version, I'll say the NASB and the NIV and the King James. I'm not a King James only dude, though. You know, there are reasons for that I mention in my channels, actually. So I accept all good versions of the Bible, and I go by the most ancient authorities, okay? The most ancient Greek and Hebrew texts. But getting back to college, you know, I went to college for the first time in 2002. So I went late in my life to college. I went to pre-college in the Jewish Guild for the Blind in 2002, and I went to college for a few years, but I never was taught Greek in college. I never was taught Greek by someone, literally. I'm a self-taught person, basically. Okay, so I had to learn all these constructions because I wanted to learn them on my own. And basically, I mean, when you go to college, you have maybe 2, 3, 4 textbooks. Like when I went to college, like for example, Lyndall O'Hara, which was my history professor, she gave us Communist Manifesto and Western Civilization, and then maybe Eli Whitney, I think his name is, I forgot, you know, the Holocaust writer, and then she gave us another one, I think, the Republic of Plato. I think that was another one that I got. So she gave us 4 textbooks actually. Plato's Republic, something like that. It was like a novel-sized book. You know, so not everybody had 4 textbooks, but I mean, basically, you're learning from a textbook. Okay, so I mean, without getting any degrees, that's the only problem with that. You're not getting any degrees, but what you're doing is you're hearing somebody speak on a textbook. That's what you're doing in college. And so, you know, I dropped out of college because I wanted to help my mother make ends meet. And she was a hard worker on her own also anyway. And I always wanted to help my mother, Nilda Rucci, because she um, she actually was a very hard worker in nursing homes and things like that, and cleaning homes and all this volunteering, about being a volunteer in a hospital, especially St. John's Hospital in Far Rockaway Beach, 20th Street. And I said when I grow up, when I become older, I'm going to help her because I used to hear stories that she became 90 pounds walking from Far Rockaway all the way to Hempstead, which is a few miles. I mean, and becoming 90 pounds, and in the snow. And I said, when I grow up, I'm going to help my mother so she won't have to work that hard. So everybody wants to do that. And so I did about 3 years of college, and so I only need like 1 year for maybe a bachelor's degree or something like that. If I want to do that in the future, I have plans of joining the Salvation Army probably in the future. And I want to write a book called Logos. Logos, John 1:1 book. But I'm in the Philippines now, so that's going to have to be put on hold. So I don't know if I'm ever going to be doing those things, fulfilling those goals and other goals that I have for me in the ministry. And even just uploading the thousands of materials that I have. I mean, my son Sean Donnelly probably is going to have to take over that job in the future. So, and he's a newborn, so I mean, those videos won't come out anytime soon. He's only about it's about 3 months old. Okay, I think today. I'm not sure. I have to look at the date. Either 3 months and a day old, something like that, whatever the case may be. And so, my mother, incidentally, had a gift of prophecy. She was a prophetess, and I know some people don't believe in that, but I believe in the spiritual gifts for today. That's the thing that separates me from some other evangelical Christians, is that I'm a charismatic evangelical. Okay, and excuse me. I believe in the spiritual gifts, and I never did before. I never actually, when I was a young Christian, I didn't believe in the spiritual gifts. I didn't believe in the spiritual gifts. So I guess since this is long, I'm gonna put this apart from the alphabet study. I'll put this apart from that. So this is just a history of Angelo. So I mean that's just it. And so it's just kind of too long, so I'll just put that separately. I'll just mention in the alphabet third part that if you want to see a history of me, just go to my channel, or just listen to something after. Just listen to this after the alphabet, the series, because this is too long. Okay. So I wasn't really interested in college at all, and I went to college and actually worked and went to college at the same time for about a year, and that was very hard during exams and during reports, So that was writing anything of length. That was just very difficult to do research. The research is very hectic in college, like Communist Manifesto. You had to do research on that, on the book. It was a little tiny booklet anyway, and then you had or Plato's Republic. You had to read that, and it was hard to do. It was hard to do for a legally blind person working and doing that at the same time. But it taught me discipline. It taught me different things. It taught me the Christian college atmosphere. It taught me how to be a good professor. I never was a professor. I mean, I don't plan to be one. I mean, I'm 57 years old. It's kind of maybe too late for that. My teaching is done online, and maybe in church again I'll teach. I did teach in church in Templo de Dios Vivo, a Temple of the Living God in Far Rockaway, Queens, and And so I did teach in church. I was the pastor's right-hand man, going with him to look for the lost sheep of the church, if you will, and things like that, and doing things for him. And it was a Pentecostal church, not oneness, of course. I'm a Trinitarian, but Pentecostal church, a traditional Pentecostal church, and so I did that. I did that. So I have history in teaching and preaching in church in front of people, and I used to copy the text on a piece of paper because I cannot read in front of everybody straight from the Bible without any apparatus. I use a magnifying glass from my phone to look at the Greek and the Hebrew and the English and stuff like that. And then came 2012, and before that, the years before that, I was just working. I was working different jobs and things like that, and helping out my mother and whatever the case may be. And in 2012 came and I lost my mom. She died in her sleep. She usually calls. She usually used to call me in the morning or periodically throughout the day. She didn't do that. And so I called her. I kept on calling her, and there was no answer. And you may say, well, why didn't you call the police? Well, I did call the police once before that. And she was okay. And then she was very upset at me that I called the police. So I didn't call the police. That's why I didn't call. Because if she was okay, she would be mad again at me tremendously. So she didn't like that, So I just let time slip until 7 o'clock in the night. And I say, something, it's 7 o'clock in the night. I'm not hearing from my mother. And this was May the 17th, okay, of 2012. And I was around 47 years old at the time, still in Far Rockaway. And I went to her place. I had a key, and I find a chain at the door. And so I call inside, and I say, Mom, are you okay? Mom, are you there? Whatever I said, I can't remember. That was like 10 years ago. And so I got two neighbors, two ladies, okay, that were close friends of hers on the floor in the apartment complex that she used to live in. And so they said, Nilda, and then we decided to call the police, and then the police, I think, called her name, I think. I'm not sure, but they finally decided to break not the door, but the chain. So one of the officers with a palm struck the door and broke the chain. So that chain is not worth a hill of beans, guys, to tell you the honest truth. And then we searched the apartment, the kitchen, the living room, the bathroom, nothing. And then I found her in the bedroom, laying on the floor like she fell asleep. So obviously it looks like she was praying there, knowing my mother. And before she died, and she knew she was going to die, she just didn't tell me, and that was a really bad thing to do because I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked that my mother died. It's not like if somebody has a cancer and then they're slowly dying in a hospital, whatever the case may be. It was a total, absolute shock. I was blown away. It was so sudden. And then I found her there, laying down, and there was a pool of liquid on her head, or under her head or whatever. It was soaked, and obviously she was there for several hours. We don't know if she died on the night of 2016 or in the morning of 2017. So we don't even know the date she died. We just put on the invitation paper to the funeral, May the 17th, but we're not even sure about that. Could have been the 16th. Oh, sorry about that, guys. There's 2% left. And so let me just go to the charger and actually plug this in, so that way I can finish sort of the history of my life, and so you could kind of know me better and know why I don't tolerate certain things. Okay, that's just the deal. The Lord didn't tolerate certain things. Hypocrisy was one of them, and you know what I'm saying. So that's just the deal. So let me just plug this in. And so, I mean, that was a traumatic experience for me. I mean, that was just, and my mother's life was an incredible life that she lived. It was just incredible. She predicted an airplane going down that was going to go down when she was in it. And it was like the 1950s something, 1954, 55, 56, whatever. It was the Good Friday airplane to New York City that is sung in Puerto Rico. That was a song about that. My mother was on that plane as a small girl, as a 6-year-old or as a 10-year-old. I don't really know. I could see when that happened, and I could tell you how old she was because she was born in 1944. So I mean, if it was in 1954, well then I'll say well she was 10 years old. Exactly. She was on that plane with her grandmother, and she was given a prophecy by the Lord Jesus Christ, okay, that the plane was going to go down, and so she kicked and screamed, and she was a little girl, and they didn't want to let her go, and they finally let her go, and a few minutes later, the plane goes down and kills several people on the plane. And she probably would have been killed if she would have stayed there. So she had a tremendous life. I mean, she died and saw Jesus, and he said, "Not yet," and threw her spirit right into her body again. So she saw the Lord. We're talking about a woman, Nilda Rucci, my mother, who raised up 3 legally blind children on her own because she separated from my father when I was 5 years old, around 1970. And she always wanted to have 3 children because when she was a small girl, she used to have in a stroller or whatever the case may be 3 little dolls, and so she always wanted to have 3 children, and she had 3 legally blind children from cesarean section, and I can make a story on her life, so that I think that's what I'm gonna do because I want somebody to write a book out of it because actually you could write a book out of it. It's so interesting. It's more interesting than my life. And my life is interesting. I'm not telling you like half of the things. The engagement that I was engaged to a woman from Guatemala in 2001, and they didn't go through. I was gonna get married on a Saturday, and we got separated on a Thursday. Okay, before Saturday. So I could tell you things that happened in my life that are so interesting also. But my mother ransacks that by a mile. Her life is just so interesting, incredible. The prophecy, the gift of prophecy that she has, and Riza actually has my mother's earrings on her. So if you see earrings on Riza, those are from my mother that I saved. And I was going to give that, I was saving that for a special person, a wife to be, and then she has that there in her ears, So that's just it. So I mean, what can I say? I mean, after my mother died, then so I can get into her life in the future, with a picture of her, on display for you guys, as I'm talking about just her life, and that's it. But getting back to my life in the ministry, 2012 was a very hard year for me. I mean, it's just 2012 was losing a mother. I was very close to my mother. I was, mama's boy. I was the last one to be born and the last one to leave. And we were extremely close. Me and my mother were inseparable. I mean, we used to call each other several times, and that's why I say to you that when she didn't call me, it was very strange. But I already gave you the reason why I didn't want to call the police. Because she lashed out on me when I did, and she was okay. So I didn't want I didn't want a repetition of that. You understand what I mean? So the deal is that so she died, and I could tell you the details and everything like that, and I will say that it was very hard seeing my mother in a body bag being moved from her apartment to the ambulance. I mean, that was just, my brother came, my sister-in-law came, his wife, their son Brian came and stayed over that night, so I wouldn't be alone. And you know something? Before I closed the apartment, I said, something? The very same night that I was left alone, though, I mean, when everybody left, finally they had to leave. I lay down at the same spot that my mother died on. She died in her bedroom, not on the bed, but next to the bed, laying down, like if nothing ever happened. And it's very hard. I mean, I used to talk about it without crying. I mean, with crying, meaning I used to talk about it with tears in my eyes all the time. That's what I'm trying to say. I couldn't stop crying when I was talking to people about my mother's death at first. That's what I'm trying to say. And I still think about her. I love her tremendously. I have videos of her. I have pictures. I have some things of hers. And I love my mother, and I can't wait to see her one day when I enter into the glory by the blood of Jesus Christ and His resurrection. That's one thing that I'm waiting for, and I forget sometimes about that I'm going to be meeting my mother. Not only am I going to see the Lord and all the other saints, but I'm going to be seeing my mom, and that's a tremendous, tremendous, tremendous help as I go through a life here. Because people could be so rude, people could be so hypocritical, people could be so I don't know I don't know how to tell you. I don't know how to explain it. I mean, I've gone through so many things, even in my marriage here in the Philippines for 4 years. It has been heaven and hell on earth at the same time. Well, that's a product of family members in this family, in my in-law family, or whatever you want to call it, that are just not saved. But that's just another thing. That's another topic. That's I guess on married life. Okay. Even though my wife Ariza Tapayat now Quinones is a wonderful, wonderful human being, but marriage has not been a bed of roses. It's not going to be for anyone else. So when she died, it was a hurtful experience. I went to my house and cried my lungs out. I cried my head off. I shut the door and I just yelled. And it was a tremendous, hurtful experience for me to lose both parents. And it's it's a tremendous thing. It's a tremendous thing. I know my mother was saved. I know that she believed and trusted in Christ, and she didn't depend on her works, and she called upon the name of the Lord. So I know she's saved. So that's not the issue. That's not the problem. But it's just missing her, missing that kiss, missing that hug, missing sleeping next to her. When I'm staying over her house. And missing crying, sitting down between her legs and putting my head on her chest as like a small boy and saying, "Mom, my leg hurts, my back hurts." I remember doing that, and she didn't criticize me at all. She just hugged me and I mean, I just have to do a video about her because she's just so special. She's just unique, one of a kind. Even looking at her face, she's just one of a kind. And one of the best mothers that you can ever have. So again, after that, about a year after, I was on YouTube. We used to do some Bible studies together, me and my friend Greg Constantante, I think is his last name. I'm not sure though. And we did some mock debates together. He used to pretend to be a Mormon. I used to pretend to be a Mormon. He used to pretend to be a Jehovah's Witness. I pretended to be a Jehovah's Witness, and we just did that, And then and we got these recordings via cassette recorder up on YouTube. And I don't know who told me to be on YouTube, that you could be on YouTube and stuff like that. Maybe it was my own idea, And I finally got on YouTube and started the Angelo KYKY Quinones channel, the first channel that has over 2,700 plus subscriptions. And a lot of my things has thousands and thousands of views. One video has close to 9,000 views. Me and Greg, right? That mock debate that we did. He was a JW there, played the part. And then I have another video, the Tetragrammaton Bible study, that has over 18,000 views. And I have several things with 1,000 views. 1,000, 2,000, 800, 500. I mean, a lot of it. I have maybe more than 100,000 views of my of my studies. Just me, apart from anything else, apart from any debates that I may have up there, they were very successful. I was the first one to upload in the history, okay, of YouTube, the Greg Stafford and James White debate in its entirety. And Alpha and Omega Ministries didn't want that there. Okay, it didn't look good for James White that he lost. He lost the debate. Not that he was wrong. He just didn't have the power of the Holy Spirit. Didn't know his Greek and Hebrew. I don't care what he does now. If he's taking courses on papyri, who cares? He lost the debate so long ago. You know what I mean? It's good that he's doing that now. Should have done that before. Okay, he wouldn't have lost. But he thought that he could wipe out Greg Stafford. And I'm a Trinitarian, and I'm saying this. And he didn't wipe him out. And he got wiped out himself by not answering, just not answering a simple question, is the Father the true God? Just say yes. And as a matter of fact, say it a couple of times, so that way you'll waste the time on the clock of Greg Stafford. Okay, you understand? Just say, I'm sorry, what did you say? Say that about like 3 times, and you wasted already 30 seconds on the screen. He didn't have no command of Hebrew and Greek. He didn't have the power of the Holy Spirit. He didn't quote Scripture enough, okay? And then he didn't answer the question. And there's several other reasons why he lost the debate badly, by the way. I used to say it was a tie. I have a video up there that's I guess it was a tie, because I had an accent. When I used to do the mock debates with my friend Greg, because he was the first contributor to the ministry, and me and Greg has the most videos of anyone that I ever spoke to, including Mark from Missouri. Because it's not fair, Mark, because he was on YouTube just for a second, and I'm gonna put those things up there again. So when all is said and done, Mark from Missouri, a Jehovah's Witness, will be the greatest contributor to this ministry because he made me better. And debating him so often, we have around 120 debates or so, whatever it is. This is a large number. He made me better, and that's how you become better. When you don't know something, and then you do your homework, and then you get back on the horse again, and then answer that same question, then you'll get better by being in the arena of DCDs, debates, campaigns, and discussions. Between you and any person of any cult, sect, or religion. You understand what I mean? And so it wasn't called Ego Amy or I Am Ministries yet. It was that title came later, maybe around 2000 and I don't know. Well, this video, it says I Am Ministries here, so I can kind of calculate and go back to my channel and see how many years ago this was typed out. So that's how I can tell when I put that. More or less, the first title on a video that says I Am Ministries, and I have to comb back my channel. I have to go back and comb through my channel and see all the videos. Whenever that appears first, that's when I said, well, there's an Alpha and Omega Ministries. Well, let me call my ministry I Am Ministries. It's really called Ego Amy Ho'on Ministries, or in Hebrew, Echyech Asher Echyech Ministries, but that's just so long. So I just said I Am Ministries. And it's because Jesus is, not because the founder is anything, because I'm nothing apart from Christ. I have his righteousness, not mine. Okay, his righteousness was imputed to my account. Okay, you understand what I mean? So this picture was taken, incidentally, around 2010, by the way. That's not the way I look now. My hair doesn't look like that now. I guarantee you. Though my face looks like that, though. It's just much more grayer now, It's not white yet, though. It's not Santa Claus, but still, In a few years, it'll probably be just white, and that's it. I mean, my father got gray very quickly at the age of 30-something or whatever, And I remember in college, I said to somebody, do you know how old I am? No. Take a guess. Well, you have gray in your hair, so you're like 40, So anyway, whatever. I think I was like 37 and when I went to college, and I already was gray, so had a touch of gray, a dab of gray, A dab of gray would do you, what I'm saying? You look mature. That's the crown of glory. I used to say, well, that's the crown of glory to everybody, but sometimes you don't want that crown so quickly coming your way in your life, you know what I'm saying? So after my mother died, there was a time of mourning, and then, My brother was still in my life, thank God. So Fernando was a tremendous help to me. And I mean, I just started the ministry before I had a title, and I mean, it was a successful channel. Has thousands and hundreds and thousands of views. I mean, probably like close to 1 million views. I mean, all the videos put together, it's probably like 1 million views, you know. And then I did another channel called Angelo Rucci Quinones. That's my mother's maiden name, Rucci. Her original names are Nilda Rucci. Nilda means armor bearer or like protector. It's a wonderful name to give a child. Nilda, Nilda. She was 68 years old when she died. She was born in 1944, but we don't know if it was January the 10th or January the 6th. There seems to be a debate there between my mother and her father, and the records of her birth. So, I mean, we don't really know. We don't know when she was born, and we don't know when she died. So, it's just so strange, because usually when somebody was born and so when somebody is so if there's a book done, it's gonna have to be like a question mark or an asterisk or something like that concerning the two dates of birth and death, birth into life, or death into life. So I just kept on doing videos after videos after videos, and then I ran into good manuals that can help me with the Greek. My first Greek manual that I was taught from, that I read from, was Manual Grammar of the Greek New Testament by Dana Manti, and that taught me tremendously. But some things were not understood by me, okay? Even basic things. Just the basic things. It was not understood all the way. And until I got this video lecture, and this was like being in college, basically, without, paying for it. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? I mean, I paid through the nose for the video lectures. I paid like $80 for them, but it was a Basics of Biblical Greek by William D. Mouse. And that taught me how to teach Greek, how to recognize different constructions, how to recognize an infinitive, how to alpha iota, for example, how to recognize a participle, with the nu and the tau business, how to recognize a subjunctive, the omega or the eta, like that, hina, how to recognize certain things, how to know the complete article paradigm, I, ta, tu, te, tu, like that, do, te, do, tan, ten, tan, and whatever. And so both manuals were very helpful to me. Not to mention Dan Wallace was a great help. I don't espouse to the or agree to his philosophy and just letting Greek scholars see the manuscripts that God gave everybody. The spirit of God, meaning the attitude of God, if you will, the heart of God, is not to keep these things hidden. It's not to keep these things away from the simple people, but it's to share them to everyone. And I think that Dan Wallace, as great as he is, and he forgot all his Greek and then he relearned it again. I don't know how that happened. And that's a great manual, Beyond the Basics. And there are other manuals, that you can get, Though I recommend highly the video lecture by William D. Mouse. I recommend that, Also, I learned Hebrew on my own. And so I learned how to read and write Hebrew and Greek, and that has been a tremendous help to my ministry in teaching straight from the Greek. Okay, and recognizing different constructions and teaching the Greek, just not a Greek word. Well, the Greek word for Romans chapter 11 verse 9 is this, and talking about just that, and that's not really knowing the constructions. That's not knowing Greek. That's just knowing your Greek lexicon. Knowing a Greek lexicon is not knowing Greek. I used to think that, way back in 1990 when I used to hear Dr. Barnhouse, and I'm pretty sure he knew Greek, like these great scholars, But I'm just saying that He used to just teach a Bible study, and it was an amazing Roman series that he was involved in from 19, I don't know, 39 to whatever it was. I mean, or 49 to 60 when he died. He was just the best Bible teacher in the 20th century. And Chuck Swindoll, Charles Stanley, Robert A. Cook, and Farrell Griswold were my other instructors in the faith, if you will. Norman Geisler, Ron Rhodes, John Ankerberg, of course, has been a tremendous help to me. Not knowing the language, but knowing other things about Christianity and what's against it, you know. And so, incidentally, my favorite lexicons, talking about lexicons, are Vine's Complete Expository Dictionary of Old and New Testament Words, and Mounts, by the same sort of title. And Thayer's Greek Lexicon is basically, you have to know Greek to read it. And Brown Driver and Briggs, Hebrew lexicon of the Bible, which you need to learn Hebrew. You need to read Hebrew, know how to read Hebrew to read it. You know, at least the older one that I had, which was as big as a house. And then Strong's Hebrew lexicon of the Bible, that's another one. You know, and then George Riker Berry's Greek lexicon, United Bible Society's Greek lexicon. My favorite Greek New Testaments are the United Bible Society's Greek, not lexicon, but Greek New Testaments are Alfred Marshall's Greek Interlinear, United Bible Society's 4th edition. Now they're probably on the 6th edition by now, or 5th. And Greek Septuagint by Sir Lancelot Brenton. And it's like 1851 or something like that copy. One of my best friends, Obed Vargas, got that copy. Probably because I mentioned it in my studies. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? And and there are other lexicons out there that I had. Kiddos, even though I didn't have the complete 9-volume set, it's as big as a house. All of those. And my favorite music is Audio Adrenaline, Christian groups, Petra, Point of Grace, Stephen Curtis Chapman, probably, in a minor way. And but my favorite group of all time is a rap group called Christian rap group called Cross Movement. And Ambassador is my favorite from there, Tonic, and then Fanatic, of course, and then Day Troop. But I mean, Fanatic. Unfortunately, he left the faith, So that's just it with that. So I love Christian music. I like all kinds of Susan Ashton, Sandy Patty, and I like secular music too, like the old Spanish singers, Camilo Sesto and Los Angeles Negros and Los Panchos, and those were my mother's favorite music. But I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed my Christian music in America, in the United States of America, where I was born. I'm a native-born America. I'm Puerto Rican, by the way, because my father and my mother was born in Puerto Rico. Though I have some Italian in me, I think the grandfather of my mother was from Sicily. So I do have Italian blood in me, So that's just it, And so I started the ministry called I Am Ministries, and I'm still working hard in this third channel. Angelo Kyky and Riza Quinones, that's the name of my wife. I have 2 children. I'm married for 4 years to Riza Tapaya Quinones. Okay, we got married the same year I came here in 2018. I met her online. We befriended each other in 2017. I don't know what month. I joined Facebook in 2010, and she joined in 2015. If it wasn't for Facebook, we wouldn't have gotten married, because it would have been impossible to have known her, because I was from there and she was from here, So that's the thing about Facebook. It got people together and things like that, Yahoo and all this other stuff, I was busy dating online before I met her. ChristianCupid.com, Match1.com, Match.com. I mean, all these dating websites that, eventually Facebook got it done. I mean, I sent invitations and videos to people in my Facebook account. I befriended people. And probably inwardly, I wanted to see if one of these would have been my potential wife. So, I did do that. I am guilty as charged. Okay, but that got me a wife. Okay, So at the same time I was spreading the gospel, I was actually hoping and praying. Like I was hoping and praying outside of church one day, at Calvary Baptist Church outside, in 1994, that I was, I was waiting outside. I'm probably not the only one who did this in the history of the church, okay, of God's Kirk. That when I was waiting outside, sometimes outside of Calvary Baptist Church, waiting outside to see if my wife to be would come out the doors. She never did. She never did. I just waited, and then after that, I said, "Well, let me just take the train. Nobody's gonna pop out." It's just almost like waiting for your wife to knock on your door. Okay, unless she's sort of a UPS person or something like that. I mean, she ain't gonna come. You know what I'm saying? Or the mailman, the mail lady. So that's not gonna happen like that. That's just very, you're gonna have to be proactive and get things done. And that's just it. Go the extra mile. If you want that to happen, don't expect a wife just to knock on your door. Or a husband, if you're a woman, to knock on your door, because God created Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. You understand what I'm saying? But that's another issue. So I mean, we befriended each other. I think I sent out the invitation for a friend request like that, and she accepted. But that was 2017. There was nothing thought of it, And then in February 2018, we started talking and stuff like that, She, along with another woman, always was very attentive and appreciative of my Bible lectures and stuff like that, even though probably she didn't understand a word. She just kept on saying hello and stuff like that, and another person. And so I called this other person. I said, what's her situation? Because I have Riza over here, so the contestants are down to 2. Let me see which one is worthy. So I called the other one. I think her name is like Lynn something. I don't know. I forgot, And she was like from this strange country that I never heard about, right? She had children. At that time, I wasn't really interested in that. I mean, in marrying somebody and having their kids, walk all over me when they're older. You understand what I'm saying? And so I said, she's nice and everything like that, but no, no, that's okay. And then so Rizzo was the one. And, we began to speak February of 2018, and we got engaged on the 20th of March, 2018. And from that point on, I just kept on, trying to find a job to come here to the Philippines. And in the same year I came here, we got married, which was a good thing, So we've been married for 4 years, and it hasn't been a bed of roses, but she's a wonderful human being, and I love her dearly. And I have 2 children from her, and Sean Donnelly and Anna Devane. Sean Donnelly is 3 months old, and Anna Devane is going to be 3 years old this year. So I got those names from General Hospital because I'm a very big General Hospital fan. The one with the Aztec treasure, Sean Donnelly, Robert Scorpio, that kind of General Hospital era. Not now. Not now. Frisco Jones, Felicia, that time, Grant Putnam, all that stuff, Bobby Jones, all that stuff, understand what I'm saying? I think that's it. I don't know what this says over here. Okay, so whatever, I don't know what this says, guys. Okay, I hope I'm still recording. I'll be ashamed if I'm not. Okay, so he's probably cleaning something here, and I don't want any cleaning. I want to go back to my biography. So the third channel is Angelo, Kiki, and Riza Quinones, and it's been around for about since 2020. So you count 2020, 2021, around 3 years. I have 750 videos on there, and so that's just it. Sorry about that, guys. And I'm still in the Philippines, and I'm building a house here, the house that we're living in. I bought a car here, even though I can't drive. I don't have the car anymore, but that was exciting. I want to do a soup kitchen over here, so that's a goal that I want to do. But I need money to do that. So if you guys can not pray for the money, but just pray that God will help me to do that in that type of language. He doesn't want us to pray for money per se. I want to build a church here, so that's going to cost. So just help me with your prayers. Just bring those specific petitions to God. For me. And so basically that's it. I lost part of my family in the United States of America. Basically, all of my family members, except for my sister, my brother, my nephew, my sister-in-law. But I gained a family here. I was given a second chapter of my life. And God doesn't grant that for everybody. So I should consider myself very, I hate to say lucky, but just blessed and fortunate to be living in my second chapter now. And so I guess when I move back to the United States, it'll be my third chapter and my maybe final chapter. But if I even get there, okay, But that's really my life. My life is I'm legally blind, but I'm a born again Christian, and I'm trying to serve the Lord to the best of my ability, to the best of the gifts that God gave me. Preaching, evangelism, preaching, Bible teaching. Those are my spiritual gifts. Romans chapter 12, 1 Corinthians chapter 12, Ephesians chapter 4, and even Hebrews chapter 2. So I want to teach the Hebrew and the Greek because I think that the original languages are the only things that could defeat these erroneous teachings from the Mormon Church or the Jehovah's Witness congregation or Islam or the Catholic Church or whatever the case may be that comes between you and the truth. But you have to do it in the Spirit of God. You have to do it with power and boldness and assuredness, because nobody respects somebody who doesn't believe what they're saying. I want to mention 5 people outside of my family and some of them are in the family of Christ, that have been a tremendous help to me. And with this, I'll close, because I could go on and on with my life, and maybe I'll do like a part 2. But first of all, I have to thank God. First of all, the living God of Israel, for saving me and for saving my life several times. I got hit by 2 cars, one around 1997 and one around 2004, and I survived the two hits. I got 2 shins to prove it. If you don't believe me, I got hit right on the shin of each leg. Okay, and there's a little dent there. When I came to the Philippines, the inflammation has gone down tremendously, though. But I don't know in the future if that's going to be a problem for my bones. I was struck by a bat when I was around 6 years old, right straight on the head, with all the force that a baseball player can hit a ball. That's how I got hit. I should have been killed right there instantly, probably. My skull should have been fractured or broken, shattered maybe. And I just felt the pain, a hot pain or whatever it was, a bump. I went down like a sack of potatoes and I just got up again. I was left to drown in a swimming pool by a prankster in the lighthouse for the blind on a Saturday. And he used to go to my school, the Bell School for the Blind. He didn't like me. He said, "Well, Angelo, you know something? Let me take you out for a little swim or whatever." And I was on his shoulders or whatever. You know how you carry your boy like that. And then he just left me to drown in the middle of the water. And if it wasn't for the attentive a counselor there to save my life, literally, I would have been drowned to death. So I almost died at least 4 times. I got almost hit by another car, actually. I was listening to, and this is what you shouldn't do when you're not able to see well. listening to a Walkman. Then the Walkman falls down, and I was going to cross the street. I don't know if I was going to cross right away, but as the Walkman falls down and I go to pick it up, a car just went right through the freeway. So, go figure. You know what I mean? I've been attacked by people in school. I survived that. I've been through attacks. I went through attacks as a young man, maybe like 8 years old. There was a boy, Dexter, who used to punch me in the head while I was going out from the school bus tremendously. So every day it happened for like about a year or two. Nothing was done by our bus driver. And we were too scared to talk about it. Me and Fernando, my brother, got hit several times in the head by vicious punches. And so I went through all of that. I went through tremendous pain in my life, tremendous suffering. The legal blindness is not an easy thing, but it's an acceptable thing for a Christian, And one thing that my mother taught me is not to complain during pain. I wish I could perfect that, but I haven't yet. And not to blame God for anything, And those are the things. Those are my attitudes. My attitude is a person who loves to share anything that I have. Anything that I have, I love to share. I like to give. I'm a giver. And I think that's what Quinones means. It has that name. It has that meaning in it, one who shares. And then another exclamation of Quinones was from my stepsister. And she said that Quin means 5 and Ones means judge. I don't know if that's true. Maybe you guys could leave a comment there. But my last name means 5 judges. So I'll take it for what it's worth, Aaron Judge or something like that. You know what I'm saying? The first name is from Angelos, which means messenger or angel. So my first name means messenger, one who gives a message, Malach in Hebrew. That was taught to me by a Hebrew-speaking family, a Jewish family, on one of my tours in Dialogue in the Dark. Dialogue in the Dark was a tour that people had to go through a man-made a city, a train, a store, cafe, Central Park, Times Square, man-made, in total darkness with canes. And so they were to experience what people who are totally blind experience on a daily basis, to prepare them to take care of their eyes and to know what the legally blind culture is all about. Incidentally, I learned sign language in college, but I forgot most of it. But if you're interested in communicating to people who are deaf, I took American Sign Language in college. And that was the textbook's name, American Sign Language, And so that's basically my life. Really, just a tip of the iceberg. I'm a very fortunate person that I'm living part 2 of my life, chapter 2 of my life. There are other goals that I want to do. Will God give me time to upload the thousands and thousands and thousands of sermons that are not yet known to people? Would I do that, or would my son do that, or somebody else is going to do that? I don't know. Okay. Would I join the Salvation Army one day? Would I write my first book like I wanted to do before I got married? Those are the things that I sacrificed to get married to Risa Tupaya Quinones. I sacrificed a lot of things that I wanted to do in my life for her. And it paid off because, I have a wonderful wife. I have 2 beautiful children, a 3-month-old and a 3-year-old one, a set of kids. And I forgot my English here in the Philippines, by the way, so that's just a deal. Not that I was great over there in America, but anyway, it was better. It was better. And that's just the deal. I love to when you go to college, that shyness just goes away. You become sort of an extrovert instead of an introverted person, And it teaches you to church going and going to college. It teaches you to communicate and to mingle with other Christian people. And those are the things that I needed to learn. I needed to learn that it wasn't all about myself and not going to church in the beginning stages of my life, but it was actually you know reaching out and witnessing to people and things like that. And when God tells you to go someplace, you go without questions, without answer, without questioning. You know. So that's just it. What else can I say? I just want to thank 5 people, like I said before. I want to thank God for saving my life so many times, for sparing my life, and I didn't deserve it. But I want to thank 5 people in particular. First of all, I want to thank. First of all, I want to 6 people. I want to thank my brother for being one of the greatest brothers in all of the world, Fernando Quinones. I mean, he has been there throughout my entire life, through the bumps, through the roads, through the good times. He was part of the inner circle of 5. My brother, our mother, myself, Brian, his son, and Gwendolyn, his wife, Fernando's wife, and we were that inner circle. We were that almost unbreakable inner circle until it was broken into in 2012 by the death of our mom, Nilda Rucci. Nilda Rucci Figueroa Vasquez Diaz. I mean, she had all that. And so I want to thank him above anyone after the Lord, because he was there in the good and the bad. And some friends are not there in the good and the bad. But he has been a tremendous help to me, emotionally, physically, and even helping me here in the Philippines. So I just want to give a shout out to Fernando Quinones, one of the best brothers, if not the best brother in the world. I mean, because he's legally blind and he does so much. That's the thing. That's the thing that separates him from people who, they're great brothers, but they have 20/20 vision. They have a great job, or whatever the case may be. You understand what I'm saying? So he's fulfilling, what our mother wants him to do, and so I know he's going to do it. So after that, just friends who, some of them are brothers in the Lord anyway, but so I count some of these people as dear family. First of all, I want to thank Gilberto Corona for being my best friend throughout almost 50 years. He was a friend that I met in the 3rd grade, and he's still my friend now. And we're talking about 1973 to almost 2023. That's almost 50 years. And so he's an evangelical Christian like I am, and he's totally blind, suffers of ringing in the ears, and you don't hear him complaining not one bit about nothing. He's just a wonderful, wonderful human being with a tremendous heart for music and for reaching people and through evangelism. And he's just a wonderful, wonderful human being. He's my best friend of all time. Best friend of all time. Second on that list, and it's a close second, it might be a tie, okay, you understand what I'm saying, is Denise Lenore from Florida. Okay, Gilberto Corona is from New York City, by the way, and went to the same school, Lavelle School for the Blind, and the next one went to the same school, Lavelle School for the Blind. Denise Lenore has been there for almost 10 years for me. She has been an encourager. She has gone through the tough times with me, some tough times, and she has been a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful human being that prays for you, that supplied my needs physically here, and has helped us, me and my wife, tremendously by sharing what God has given her to us. And she has been there in the thick and the thin, and she has been a great contributor to the ministry. Okay, so I count Denise Lenore as the second greatest contributor to the ministry. Okay, she's just a great, first of all, great sister in the Lord, a great friend, and a bosom pal. And that's not going to change until the day I die. And so she's just a tremendous woman of the Lord, loves the Lord, loves the scriptures, has been learning how to discern both good and evil in a great way. She has been growing. She has shown tremendous growth. And, you know, people could say that I don't have friends all they want to, but they don't know anything at all, because the two people that I just mentioned are tremendous friends forever and forever until we reach the heavenly shore and see each other. So that's not going to change. That's not going to change ever. You understand what I'm saying? The next one will be on that list, as far as right now goes, is Obed Vargas. Obed Vargas was a Jehovah's Witness, and now, okay, what is this over here? Obed Witness was Obed Witness. He's gonna kill me. Obed Vargas was a Jehovah's Witness for a very long time, for many years. Got grown up in that false cult, and called my ministry when I made public my ministry telephone number, and actually called me and actually somebody was looking for my wife, but she's not here. He didn't even wait. He just split. You know, he's a collector. You know, he's sometimes we buy things and they collect. You know, so it's like Fingerhut over here, guys, on motorcycles. You know what I'm saying? So I wish, would to God that they have Fingerhut over here. You know, but they have several things like that. But you know, but yeah, Obed Vargas had and Denise and Gil to a lesser degree, but Obed Vargas and Denise and Greg, who I'm going to mention, Mark is on another level, you know, than anybody else. Not as friendships go, but I'm talking about contributing to the ministry. I mean, all of my teachings could disappear, and just the debates that I had between me and Mark can be enough for people. That's how great some of those debates are, and the content. All of my ministry information could disappear, and that's a lot of it. It's a lot of information. And I could just have the debates survive throughout the eons of time, and then that'll be sufficient to reach people. That's how great the debates between me and Mark goes. But I'm mentioning right now Obed Vargas. Obed Vargas has some recorded discussions between me and him. He has contributed a lot to the ministry. Okay, and he has called me. He has helped me physically with his finances, like Denise has. He has contributed to the family. He has helped me during times that I cried, and I have helped him during times that he's cried. He has cried. That'll be the perfect tense, by the way. He has cried. You know what I'm saying? Okay. And so we helped each other tremendously, and I love Obed like just as much as I love Gil and Denise. Just as much as I love Gil and Denise. I love Obed to that degree. And if I'm hard on Obed Vargas, it's because I want him to do the things that Jesus expects for him to do and not to do. But I love Obed Vargas. Obed Vargas is a dear son in the faith. He is a dear brother in the Lord. I would do almost anything for Obed Vargas, just like Denise Lenore and just like Gilberto Corona. Those three clustered there like Segol, like the Hebrew E vowel points is an upside down set of triangle dots, upside down triangle set of dots, 3 dots. Well, they're right there, all of them. Obed, Denise, and Gil. All of them are there, okay, as the best friends in my life. The best friends in my life. People who I could depend on the good and the bad. Maybe I disappear from talking to some of these people, but when we get back to speaking, it's like nothing. It's like we get on our horses again and either serve the Lord together or have normal conversations like always before, because we love each other. At least I love them anyway. I know that Denise and Gil loves me. I don't know about Greg. I mean, I don't know about Obed. But we're tremendously close people, and that's just it. The other person I want to mention is Mark from Missouri. Mark from Missouri, I love Mark from Missouri. I mean, I love Mark so deeply, you know, and I just yearn for that man to be saved, because he has a very deep philosophical mind that needs to be in our side of the camp. Just imagine Mark from Missouri on our side. People belittle or despise Mark from Missouri at their own peril. He is a great debater, and he has made me greater. Okay, is that clear? Debating Mark from Missouri has gotten me to the point that I am now. I wasn't at this point. Debating Tony from Florida, but I can't put that in. I can't put Tony in that group, But even though we have, recorded about 20 debates together, me and Tony. But I wasn't to the level of when I was talking to Tony that I am now. And that's because of Mark from Missouri. That's because of, first of all, the Lord, but in the secondary sense of Mark from Missouri, just debating the issues and doing the research and doing the study, because he has pounded me and grilled me in every sense of the degree, in every degree, and I have grown because of Mark from Missouri. I have grown to be a better person who, to be a person who presents the truth better, which just speaking better and having a personality that I didn't have before, and a spontaneity, just an interruptedness sometimes, a sort of joy, a boldness, a power. And, the Lord led me to the right people. Every person has been great for some portion of my life, or for some to give me greater detail at a specific point in my life. That's the thing. That's the thing. And in last place, unfortunately, is Greg, because he has been a King James only guy for the longest time. And he said that I got him and that I did not. I just presented different versions of the Bible and the Greek and everything like that. And he ran away with it like a football. And then he got involved in the King James only group. That's the only thing that separates me and Greg. And remember that me and Greg are the ones who started, okay, this ministry. The YouTube gig is because of Greg and me teaming up and doing mock debates and stuff like that, or whatever the case may be. We are very successful on YouTube. We have a video that's almost 9,000 views. 9,000. Well, I don't think that any of my videos between me and Mark and anybody else will reach 9,000. I don't think so. Now, I always say, I don't know how God is going to use this in the future. So even after I die, will God use this ministry in a tremendous way that we don't know now? The dead will still be speaking. Hebrews chapter 11. And Martin Luther didn't think that it was going to be such a great big deal. What he did in nailing 95 theses on the church bulletin board, which was the door. So we just don't know how God is going to use this, because the last shall be first and the first shall be last anyway. So it really doesn't make a difference, But Greg has been there since the beginning. He went to my funeral. Gil went to my funeral, by the way, also. And so he was there for that. He used to pick me up to go to church. We went to several churches together. He used to call me every day, and we had discussions and stuff like that. We have some King James only debates that I want to refine. Okay, they're very raw. I want to refine them. Okay, and since he's not talking to me anymore, though, because of his King James onlyism that separates people from people, he, I'm going to be editing some things to existing material. It's just like, when you have movies that are incomplete, and then you just search for things to make it complete. Well, that's what I'm going to be doing with Greg. I have material already that exists, and I'm just going to put one or a couple of King James only debates. I'm going to edit them together, and it's going to be an amazing thing. And I have asked Denise to reach out to Greg, because she still talks to Greg, and ask him if he wants to join me for a debate next year. We shall see. That's going to be interesting. Okay, I'm going to be much better in presenting, my point as a non-King James only guy than I did before. Let's just face it. I was lousy in debates. I was really lousy. I was a lousy speaker. I was a lousy, lazy representative of the Christian faith. Just lousy and lazy, and uninformed. And that's not the case anymore, thank God, And me and Greg, we have almost a 9,000 video. Now 9,000 view video. And nobody can take that away from us. That's going to be there for until Christ comes back. Maybe YouTube is going to be on. Well, guys, it's raining now. I have to go. This is long enough. And basically, that's really my life in a nutshell. There could be other things that are said. I'm 57 years old now. And I don't know when God is going to take me home, but I know this. That, I can say that I'm born again, and I can say that I'm married, and I can say that I have 2 kids, and I can say that I have a ministry. And I can say that I did the best I could to reach out to touch people with God's word according to the original languages and the Bible. Because that's the only way to defeat, any cult, religion, or sect that comes between, us and the truth. You understand what I'm saying? So the word of God, Martin Luther said, is like jewels in the case. The original languages of the Bible are like jewels in the case, and or are like wine in vessels or in wineskins. You understand what I'm saying? And we have to understand that without the Spirit of God, we cannot reach anyone. And the only thing I could say is be yourself. I'm myself. I'm my own person. I don't try to copy anybody's style. I'm myself, because there's no one else like me with my voice, with my temperament, with my, the talents, the exact talents that I have. So I'm Angelo Quinones. I'm Angelo KYKY RUCCI QUINONES, and I'm myself. And there's no one like me. There's no one like you. So just be yourself. If you're gonna do a ministry, be careful that you don't make too many friends, or be careful with friendships, being friends online in the ministry. Try to keep that away from the ministry if you can. I wish I could have done that, but it's too late. There's going to be more videos being put on this channel that are existing already in my files. On October the 3rd of 2022 and beyond 2022, hopefully I could give you a steady stream of videos upcoming in the future. Well, guys, that's basically it. I love you guys very much. If I'm hard on some of you, it's because I want the Word of God formed in you and dwelling in you richly. And I think that you can do much better than you're doing now. And so if I'm hard on you, it's because I love you and I want to see God using that potential that's in you. And I used to have an eighth grade teacher, Sister Osama, because unfortunately I went to Catholic school. Unfortunately, and she used to say, "Angie, you're a diamond in the rough. You're a diamond in the rough. You have to take that diamond out, and it's hard. The diamond is the hardest substance on earth, and to dig it out, I mean, that's such a tremendous thing to do, But anyway, guys, that's it for now. Please subscribe to my channel. Please share my channel with other people. Please share my videos with other people. Please leave comment on the screen. It does no good if you don't subscribe or leave comments and give a like to the videos. And hopefully there'll be another YouTube channel or a website that I can create in the future. That's another thing that I want to do. And that's basically it. This is Angelo Quinones giving glory, total glory to the God of Israel. God is not the God of the dead, but of the living. And that means that Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob were very much alive at the time that Jesus said those words. Again, please subscribe to my channel. Please give a thumbs up, and please share my videos on Facebook or whatever the case may be. Download these videos if you want. If you want to save some of these videos, especially the classics, I'll have that word up there for certain videos. If you want to download them, it's okay. If you want to take pictures of of anything that I made in Corel Video Studio Pro X6, please do so. I'm going to make new videos with new graphics, using old graphics also. And I just want to say thank you so much for being there, and thank you so much for being patient with me and walking with me throughout this journey. Thank you.